In this video we will be taking a look at Matic, where we'll have a look at some key statistics and then have a look at TradingView to do some price analysis towards the end. Hello and welcome to Operation Crypto, and in this video today we're going to take a look at Matic Network. We will start off and have a look at some key statistics on CoinMarketCap, have a look at where it's trading the most, and then towards the end we will have a look at some price analysis to see where we could potentially get some good investment opportunities and where we could potentially go as a price prediction in the future. But first, please make sure you do follow me on the socials. The links are in the description below, and let's get cracking in today's video. So over on CoinMarketCap we can get a good view of all the key statistics on the Matic network, and it is currently ranked 120 out of all cryptocurrencies that we have listed on here. We have a coin price today of $0.019986, and you could say that's just shy of 2 cents. We are 1.32% up on today's trading, with a Satoshi value of 183 Satoshis. So the total supply is 10 billion Matic. We have a circulating supply of just over 3.8 billion in investors' hands. We have a 24-hour volume of $12.4 million, and a market cap today, which is the 1st of October, is $76.2 million. If we just look to market pairs and see where this trading is getting done, so as you can see here, Binance is getting a lot of the volume. You could say that's around 55% of the entire market volume getting traded on Binance against USDT and BTC. If we just scroll down, we have 82 recognized pairs that we have on CoinMarketCap. We are getting pretty much a little bit of volume from, the lowest one is Indodax at 74 down there, and it does move up to the bigger exchanges, which have all high confidence, and that's what we want to see there. One final point before we jump over to TradingView is the all-time highs, and that was 21st of May 2019, and we did hit around 4.5 cents. So we're at 2 cents now. We're about 100%, 150% away from an all-time high. So in theory that's not really a million miles away. But let's jump over to TradingView now. Let's do some technical analysis on Matic. Here we have Matic versus Tether. This is on a weekly time frame. We are using a Binance chart. Let's say we are getting predominantly most of the volume on Binance, so it would be right to use this chart. And I do most of my spot trades on Binance. So what I want to first start off by doing is marking them all-time highs up that we had, and it did say that on CoinMarketCap was around 4.5 cents. So we'll mark it up there, and that will be a good point to aim in the future. So we'll just mark it up as. We'll give it a red A, mark it a nice dash, and we'll put that as all-time high. So that, like I say, gives us a good area to target in the future. What I'm going to do next is mark a couple of key areas of support and resistance, and we will use this tool here. So again, that is a key level there of weekly support and resistance, so we'll change that there to the weekly. And I want to get a good bit of structure in place here, and then see what we can potentially target going forward. So if we just look down here towards these levels, you can see we've got pretty much a decent level there on that wick. Pretty much it acted as resistance, come all the way through, and acted as resistance again. We'll change that to a weekly. Let's see if we can get a couple more lower in case we do get some price falls. As you can see, we have another one there. So that wick there acted as resistance, come all the way down, acted as resistance again there. 1, 2, 3. Pretty much could call it 4 areas of resistance, so that's another good level we've got there. Try and get a couple lower. That is one there. If you look at that wick again on that same candle, acted as support there, resistance, so I'm use that area as support quite a few times. I think we've got enough there. Possibly get one a little bit lower, see if we can, because there's a good chance that we can go lower. If you take that wick there, we wicked up, acted as resistance, come through support, so that's another level of down there. So I think that's far enough. Let's jump into the daily time frame and let's look at what's been going on recently. So as you can see, we have a little bit of market structure in place there. And what I want to do is just zoom out a little bit and look at this area. So this was the 13th of March, and that's when Bitcoin had that 57% dump, and unfortunately everything else followed it. That's what happens is Bitcoin dumps, and pretty much everything else follows it. And then Bitcoin obviously did turn around, and everything's been on a very, very good run. If we just look at that as a price perspective, so when we wicked right down, we wicked right down to $0.0064, so that's very low. And we've been on quite a good rise, not a massive one compared to some alts, but it's been a good rise. We've had a 400% price raise from the lows of this year to the highs of this year. So what year was back then? Yeah, we wasn't high until back then. So we've had a good rise, and it does look like we've kind of spun around. If we just look at the Hitman. So this works out when there's a swing in market momentum. It detected that we was on a rise in April, and then it's been pretty much bullish all the way up until, I mean, we hit them highs, we started to retrace, we've got a downwards candle, and we are in a bit of a bearish scenario at the minute. That's not to say we can't flip around and turn bullish again, but that's just noting that we are in a bit of a downward trend. I mean, personally, I don't do trend lines, but if you mark at the top of it, wrong tool. If you mark up the top, if we just put a trend line on from the very top, then I mean, you could say that is a bearish trend. We've pretty much rejected off that area, then we've rejected off it again. So the chances are, I think that we're going to break out of this soon. If we don't break out, then we're definitely going to break down. We're going to do something. We can't just continue like this, otherwise it's going to be very stagnant. So that, as you can see, we have a bit of a trend there. Personally, I'm not a massive fan of trend analysis, but I like swings in market momentum. But what I want to do first is have a look at where we could potentially get an entry point into this. So for this, I will use a Fibonacci, and I will take the entire move. So when we had on lows of that closed body on my daily, all the way up to a double top there. I'll extend it a little bit further along. Can you see it on my screen? Yep. So if we just look here, we have retraced a fair bit. We've retraced pretty much close down to that area of weekly support. A little bit further than would have been on that 618 level. Because if I'm going to trade and looking to buy in, I always try to target 618 level. I think it's a good area to buy in, especially on a move like that as being 400% price raise. You're bound to get things turn around. So that is where I would potentially buy. If we just mark it up as an area to potentially buy, I think anywhere around these levels will be absolutely a great investment opportunity. Just mark it up as a potential good area to buy if we do turn bearish and start dropping down. So that's a current buy zone which you could look to target. We have some good areas of weekly support down here, and we have 2 Fibonacci levels, so I think they could be very good potential areas to buy in if you are looking at buying some for the long term. So I'll just remove, actually I'll leave that on. Next up, with regards to price prediction, you need to really look at some of the key levels that we have seen in the past. If we just zoom right in, we've only been up to these levels above where we are now once, and that was when we hit that weekly level, rejected. I mean, you could say there's another level around there. If we just mark it up, in fact, so that level there, that wick, it come all the way through. Wrong bloody tool again. If we just change that to there we go. So if you look at that wick there, that one there, so it acted as resistance there, if you can see it, come all the way through, and acted as resistance there. So that would pretty much be a next level to target. So I do think that what we need to do is break this bearish trend. If we break this, then we'll push up to this next weekly support level at 2.3 cent. If we break that, then obviously you've got to target the next weekly level and the next weekly level. So I do think that we need to monitor this price. If it starts coming down here and we reject off this trend again and start pushing this area, then I think that will be a great area to buy. If we do start coming lower and you are a massive fan of this, then just dollar cost average down and keep buying on the way down. But if we don't, if we flip bullish, then target these areas. If we break through this weekly level, we will obviously come back up and retest it. So have some, if we break through and you missed it, then have a look at buying some around this weekly level, around, could go at 2.2 cent. But if not, I honestly think here is a good level to invest for the future. It's a solid project. It's got a great community, and that's what you need in a good project. With regards to price predictions, then we need to remember that this has not been through that bull run that we had in 2017. Back then, everything were absolutely flying, and the chances of this flying is absolutely really high. So I think all-time highs will be broken, and I think what we need to do is put some potential areas into aim. So I do think that 10 cent will be a massive level if we just look all the way up there. So that could be a great area to target in the future. I know it looks like we're a million miles off, but if we just put that as a price percentage from current prices all up to 10 cent, when you're talking about another 400% price rise, which is, it's not a million miles off. It's already done it in pretty much not the best scenario with a global pandemic going on. So I do think that 10 cent will be a first major target if we break this over the next, probably you could say 6 months. So let's break these weekly areas of support and resistance, turn them into support, and then bounce up and get some good moves. And like I say, the all-time high is the first major accomplishment to get to. Once we break that, then you're inevitably targeting 10 cent. That is pretty much crypto likes whole numbers, so I think that's where it can go. So if we just have a look at that in a BTC perspective, if you trade in Bitcoin, and I'm just going to bang the Fibonacci and have a look at a potential area to buy in. If you use a Fibonacci from that level there around March up to that double top that we had, just remove a hitman that's in my way. Yeah, double top there. So you're looking, I mean, we've already done a massive retracement. It wasn't much of a move in BTC price, so I do think that you can buy into these levels, and I think it will be a great level to buy. So we're 184 Satoshis now. Just buy in here, hold it long term, and you will make an absolute killing. As long as the project is still doing as it say it is and cracking on with its work. So I think that will wrap it up for today's video. Like I say, we've got a good buy zone there for an investment purpose if we reject off this line. And then obviously just spin around, and we need to confirm and use these levels of resistance and flip them to support, and then push up towards them all-time highs, which is not a million miles away. So that will do it for today's video. Please make sure you do like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I'll catch you next time.